22nd March 2022. Morning Murli. Om Shanti. BapDada. Madhupan. Sweet children, if you want to celebrate a meeting with the Father, if you want to become pure, become true, spiritual lovers, remember no one but the one Father. Question: why is the status of Brahmins who are to become deities even more elevated than the status of the deities? Answer: at present, Brahmins are true spiritual social workers. They give human souls injections of purity and yoga and take the sinking boat of Bharat across by following Srimad. They make the people of Bharat, who are residents of hell, into residents of heaven. Deities do not do such a service. They experience the reward of the service done at this time. That is why Brahmins are even more elevated than deities. Song: our pilgrimage is unique. Om Shanti. You children heard the song. We are human beings. A soul is called a soul, and when it is in a body, it is a living being. Souls come from the Supreme Abode. They come here and adopt bodies. Thus is the field of action where we come to play our parts. The Father says, I too have to play a part. I have come to make impure ones pure. At present, not a single being in this impure world is pure. Then, in the pure world, there will not be a single impure being. The golden and silver ages are pure, and the copper and iron ages are impure. Only the purifier Father comes and gives all of you the teachings. O souls, you have now completed your parts of 84 births through bodies. During that time, you experienced happiness for half the time and sorrow for the other half. Sorrow begins gradually. At present, you have a lot of sorrow. There will be many more calamities to come. All are corrupt at the present time. No one has yoga with the Father. Souls have forgotten themselves. The Father now sits here and gives the example of a lover and beloved. A girl and boy do not know each other at all. Yet when they get engaged, they become a lover and beloved. That marriage is for vice. They are said to be an impure lover and beloved. There are also other lovers like Lala and Majnu, etc., who simply fall in love with each other's appearance. They continue to look at each other but do not indulge in vice. Even while doing their work, the beloved would appear in front of the other, just as Krishna used to appear in front of Meera. That one is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, the beloved of whom all we souls are lovers. Everyone remembers him. There are many lovers, whereas the beloved of all is one. All human beings are lovers of that one. People perform devotion in order to meet God. Devotees are lovers and God is the beloved. How can there be a meeting? So the beloved of everyone, the Supreme Soul, comes here. He has now come and he says, if you children want to meet me, you must constantly remember me alone. Have yoga with me and become my lovers. There is nothing but sorrow in this kingdom of Ravan. It now has to be destroyed. I have come to make all of you pure. This is your last birth. Therefore, if you remember me, your sins will be absolved. You will then be liberated from the punishment of Dharamraj. The incorporeal Father says, my beloved children, it is now the time of settlement. Each of you has a burden of sin on your head. You must now become pure, charitable souls. Only by having yoga will your sins be absolved, and only then will you become pure. charitable souls. The father says, "You have been sinful souls for 63 births in the kingdom of Ravan. From impure souls, you are now being made into the pure charitable souls. Deities are pure and charitable souls. Sinful souls worship pure charitable souls. This is now the last birth, and everyone has to die. So why should we not claim our inheritance? Why should we not become pure charitable souls? The greatest sin is to enlarge in vice. Vicious ones are called impure, whereas viceless ones are called pure. Sannyasis too are impure, and that is why, in order to become pure, they leave their households. Then, when they became pure, everyone bows down to them. When they were impure, no one would bow down to them. There is no question of bowing down to anyone here. The Father gives Srimad to you children. Consider yourselves to be souls. We have come here to play our parts, and we will then return with the Father. All physical pilgrimages now have to end. You have to return home to the land of peace. While people are on a pilgrimage, they remain pure. Then, as soon as they return home, they become impure. That is a physical pilgrimage for a temporary period. You are now being taught the spiritual pilgrimage. The Father says, by following my Srimad, you will not become impure for half a cycle. In the Golden Age, Radha and Krishna do not marry each other in order to become impure. There, they are pure. Children are born here to the power of yoga, just as you became the masters of the world through the power of yoga. Children there are never devilish because Maya does not exist there. Children there only perform good actions, and those actions are neutral. Here, in the kingdom of Ravan, your actions became sinful. Thus play is predestined. All of you Brahma Kumaris and Kumaris are brothers and sisters, and so you are grandchildren of shivbaba. You receive your inheritance of the kingdom of heaven from the grandfather. The father now comes and enables both males and females to have yoga with him. He says, while living in your households, remain pure. Show such a courage. Although you live together, do not let the fire of lust ignite. If you live together and remain pure, in this way you will receive a very high status. You have to become celibate like Bhishma Pitama. This requires effort. People think that this is very difficult. However, only the Father teaches you this method. God Shiv speaks. Krishna is not God. He is a human being with divine virtues. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar are residents of the subtle region. The status of Brahma is higher than that of Vishnu, just as the status of Brahmins is higher than that of the deities, because at this time you are spiritual social workers. You give the souls of human beings the injections of purity and yoga. Only you make Bharat into heaven at this time. This is why there is greater praise of those who make it that, although you become deities at the present time, you are Brahmins and do service. As deities, you will not do service. There, you will simply rule. Your service is to make Bharat, which is the residence of hell, into the residence of heaven. This is why it is said, salutations to the mothers, the Shiv Shakti army. Mama, it's shown riding a lion, but it is not like that. You are lioness, because you conquer the five vices. You make Bharat into heaven. This is elevated service. This is why there are many temples to the Shaktis, but there is only one main one. It is Shivbaba who gives you power. All praise belongs to him. Then the names of those who became his helpers are also mentioned. The Pandav males are also called Maharathis, means elephant riders. Both males and females are needed. This is the household path. You must never adopt a vicious guru. There is no benefit in adopting gurus who are householders. If a householder, that is an impure person, meets an impure person, he can never make him pure. They call themselves followers of the sannyasis, but they don't become sannyasis themselves. So that is a lie. Nowadays, there is a lot of deception. Householders become gurus, but they do not observe the discipline of purity. Here, the Father says, become pure, for only then can you be called the children. You will not be able to receive the kingdom unless you become pure. So you must definitely have yoga with the Father. Then, whomever you happen to believe in, for instance, if you believe in Guru Nanak, you will then go into his regime. Only those who take these teachings and become pure at this time will go into heaven. Guru Nanak cannot be called a deity. Deities exist in the golden age. There is a lot of happiness there. Those of other religions do not know about the happiness of heaven. Only the people of Bharat exist in heaven. All the rest come later. Only those who are to become deities will become that. At this time, people worship the deities Lakshmi and Narayan and say that the religion is the Hindu religion because they have become impure. They have forgotten the religion and call themselves Hindus. However, you belong to the deity religion, so why do you call yourselves Hindus? There is no such a thing as the Hindu religion. It is because they have fallen. There are very few who come here and take these teachings and then become deities. They are the ones who change from human beings into deities. Even if they only take a little teachings, they will go into the ordinary subjects. By belonging to the Father, they will enter the rosary of victory. You now have to become spiritual lovers of the beloved. In the golden age, you will be physical lovers, and in the iron age too, you are physical lovers. Now, at the confluence age, you have to become spiritual lovers of the one beloved. The Father says, continue to remember me. By enlarging in vice, you will receive 100-fold punishment. If you fall, you should write to Baba. Baba, I have dirtied my face. The Father says, children, you now have to become beautiful. Krishna is called Sham, Sundar, means ugly and beautiful. That soul has become ugly at present. Then by sitting on the power of knowledge, he will become beautiful. He will become beautiful for 21 births and he will then become ugly. Thus is the predestined play of the ugly and beautiful one. It takes a second to change from ugly to beautiful and half a cycle to change from beautiful to ugly. You are ugly for half a cycle and beautiful for half a cycle. The one beautiful traveler is Shivbaba and all the brides are ugly. He teaches you yoga in order to make you beautiful. There is first class natural beauty in the golden age because even the 5 elements are satopradhan. Your bodies there are beautiful. Here they have artificial beauty. Purity is very good. Many come to Baba and make a promise of purity, but some fail and others pass. This is godly mission. You have to salvage the second Bharat. Ravan had sucked the boat of Bharat and Ram has come to take the boat across. It is in your intellect that you will go to heaven and build palaces studded with diamonds and jewels. You will shed your bodies and become prince and princesses. Only those who are Baba's children will have these thoughts. This is God's code, God's family. You sing, you are the mother and father, and we are your children. And so this becomes a family. God is the grandfather and Brahma is the father, and you are brothers and sisters. You receive your inheritance of heaven from the grandfather. You then lose it, and Baba comes to return it to you. You now belong to Father in a practical way in order to claim your inheritance from him. You are the children of Brahma and the grandchildren of Shivbaba in a practical way. So, this is called God's gathering. You can also call it God's family. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, BapDada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children says, Namaste and good morning to the spiritual father. Essence for the dharana. First point, you have to become completely pure. That is beautiful by sitting on the pyre of knowledge. Purity is the number one beauty, and so you must imbibe this beauty and claim the right to be called a child of the Father. Second point, at this time of settlement, remove the burden of sin that is on your head by having remembrance of the one Father. In order to become a pure, charitable soul, perform elevated actions. Blessing. May you do service while being aware of your combined form and become an embodiment of success. Explanation. Just as a soul and a body are combined and the future Vishnu form is combined, in the same way the Father and I, a soul, are combined by doing service of oneself and of all souls while being aware of this form. You will become an embodiment of success. Never say you were so busy doing service that the charge of your own stage became slack. Let it not be that you go somewhere to do service and when you come back, you say that Maya came, that you had an off mood or were disturbed. The way to expand service is to do the combined service of the self and everyone else. Slogan: to be ignorant of limited desires is to be very wealthy. Shanti. Invaluable, elevated versions of Mateshwariji. Expansion of the incorporeal world and the corporeal world. We now know from God Himself that there is an incorporeal world and a corporeal world. The incorporeal world is called Brahman, that is the world of the great element of light, which is the place of residence of our souls and the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. God sends us souls from that incorporeal world to the corporeal world to play our parts, just as there is a tree of souls in Brahman. In the same way, there is a tree of souls with bodies in the corporeal world. The example of a non-living tree is given of how the roots of the tree are underground. In the same way, the human world tree is called an inverted tree because the roots of the human world are up above in the corporeal world. Each religion has its own separate section there. There isn't any light of the sun or moon there, but that world is itself of constant light and it's extremely subtle compared to the physical elements. The corporeal world consists of 5 elements. Ether means sky, wind means air, fire, water, and earth. Earth is a physical element and water is more subtle than that. Even more subtle than that is fire. Then even more subtle is wind means air and then the ether. Even more subtle than these 5 elements is the great element of light. That is the incorporeal world beyond this physical world where we souls live, except means in the point form with our Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. So this physical world is separate from Brahmand. Om Shanti